Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today we're going to be talking about last night's Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Mavericks and Timberwolves. The Mavericks going to Minnesota and steal Game 1. We're going to talk all about the game here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Last night, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks in Minnesota. The Mavericks come out and steal Game 1, winning 108-105 in a very, very good game. Starting off the first quarter, Kyrie Irving was amazing, being aggressive. And that was one thing we talked about in my preview when I did my conference finals preview. Kyrie Irving, throughout the entire playoffs, in the first half, has been very passive in terms of scoring. He's been a lot more trying to get other teammates involved and stuff like that. I think saw his stat. He's only averaging 6 points per game in the first half so far throughout the playoffs. And I think the aggressive Kyrie Irving is what they needed in this series because with this Minnesota defense, all that stuff, and you can't really rely on PJ Washington and Derrick Jones to keep giving you 5 3-point, 20-point games and stuff like that. Especially against this defense, Kyrie and Luke are going to have to, have some big performances like they did tonight. And Kyrie came out right from the jump and set the tone early with 13 points in the first quarter on 6 for 9 shooting. Minnesota won the first quarter by 6 points. Anthony Edwards, I really liked his first quarter. He came out aggressive. He had 8 points. Jaden McDaniels was 3 for 3 from 3 to start. Kyle Anderson, even the first half. I mean, he had 11 in the first half. He had a 3-pointer. He was working in that little free throw line area as well. He was really, really good. And we go to the second quarter. Kyrie, 11 more points on 5 for 5 shooting. Luka starts to get a little bit more involved. Derek Lively was really, really good. And it was a very close game, even though Dallas had a horrible shooting first half. Dallas shot 2 for 13 from 3. Well, at least horrible shooting 3-point half. And for the entirety of the game, they shot bad from 3. They only were 2 for 13 from 3. Luka and PJ Washington were only 2 people that hit a 3-pointer. Yet, it was only a 3-point game at halftime because Kyrie Irving, 24 points in the first half, 11 for 14 shooting. He was being really aggressive, attacking the paint. Luka had 14 points, and they were just being aggressive, attacking. They dominated the paint in this game. Like, they realized, okay, the 3 ball's not working. We're not really hitting our shots. All right, let's get to the paint. Let's get to the free throw line. I mean, they only took 5 free throws in the first half, but still, they were attacking the paint, attacking the rim. And for Minnesota, Jim McDaniels, 5 threes in the first half. Kyle Anderson with 11 points. Anthony Edwards only had 13. Karl-Anthony Towns was 3 for 9. Rudy Gobert had 4 points, all free throws in the first half. And even though Minnesota had a really good shooting half, 11 for 25 from 3, 44%, including Jamie McDaniels hitting 5 of them, it was only a 3-point game because Dallas kept attacking. They won the rebounding battle, which didn't even, in the first half, it didn't feel like Dallas was winning the rebounding battle for some reason. Like, it just felt like Minnesota was getting all the big rebounds, and Minnesota really was outworking Dallas early. I said it in my preview. This is going to be a battle of whoever wins the dogfight is going to win the game, most likely because how these two teams play. And early on, it was Minnesota winning the dogfight, getting their offensive rebounds, making the extra possessions, making the little plays happen. you know. And yeah, it was only 3-point game. And then we go to the third quarter. It was kind of a struggle for both teams. Minnesota just felt like they're settling a lot, especially in the second half. They're settling a lot. They took, I think, 11 threes and 12 threes in the third quarter. Only made 2 of them. Mike Conley and Naz Reid. Yeah, I just felt like they were settling. Anthony Edwards didn't score in the third quarter, 0 for 5 from the field. Carl Towns only hit 1 shot, he had 4 points. McDaniels only hit 1 shot, he had 2 points. Mike Conley hit a 3-pointer. But, they just didn't really have it in that quarter. For Dallas, even though they only hit 1 3 in that quarter as well, 1 for 6, Josh Green, they still were 9 for 21 because Daniel Gaffer started to get involved. Derek Lively started to get involved. And everybody started to get involved. They started to attack the paint. And then we got to the fourth quarter, and Luka Doncic takes over 15 points in the fourth quarter, 5 for 8 shooting. He hit a couple big 3-pointers, got to the free throw line. Derek Lively was making big plays happen. He was a plus 14 in the fourth quarter. A plus 14 in the fourth quarter. That's how great Derek Lively was in there. And then PJ Washington hit a big corner 3, and Dallas ends up winning the game. The last couple plays were very interesting. Minnesota went on a little run to kind of take a 4-point lead. Luka came down, hit a clutch step back 3-pointer. That was tough. And then the other end, was it the very next play? I want to say it was the very next play. Hold on, I'm looking at the play-by-play right now. So Luka hits that three-pointer to make it a 1 point game. Come down the line. Oh no, Anthony Edwards missed the three. Okay. And then there's another possession where the Timberwolves came down. Anthony Edwards missed the three. Came down the other end. I want to say, yeah, PJ Washington turned the ball over. They come back, and Jaden McDaniels is coming down the court, and he tries to get to the paint, but I think Luca and I want to say either Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively. I think Derek Lively. Derek Lively closed out the game. Derek Lively was down there, and it was like Jaden McDaniels was trying to go up for a layup near the end of the game, and instead of going up, he saw there's two people around him, and he tried to do like the under the basket pass out, and Luka just took it right away from him, which was bad. And then the other end, it led to PJ Washington. PJ Washington in that corner. PJ Washington in that corner is like, it's like a great marriage so far in this playoff. PJ Washington in that corner knocks down a three to go up two. And then you have the Constantine Towns goaltending where Constantine Towns try to come in and get the putback dunk, but they call it offensive goaltending, which that was a really, really, really tight call in that situation. I don't know what I would have called in that situation. It was very, very close, but it was just wasn't enough to kind of overturn it. But that was a huge call as well. And then Luca hits a big shot as well. But also after that play, Derek Lively traveled. Next play, they're moving the ball around, and I can't remember it fully. I probably should have watched the clip before I did this, but I can't remember fully. But Minnesota, I want to say it was Anthony Edwards. I want to say it was Anthony Edwards. That's the only one I think would have been was driving. He kicked it out to Jaden McDaniels in the corner, and Jaden McDaniels had a really good open corner three. But Kyrie Irving was like guarding Mike Conley on the side, and Kyrie Irving had to come over to help and contest the McDaniel shot. And instead of McDaniels taking the shot, he waited for Kyrie to come and then passed it out to Mike Conley. And that's when Mike Conley got to the rim, tried to throw the lob to Gobert. And that's when Luca got the steal, which was a huge play in that game. But I was sitting there as soon as McDaniels passed that ball. I was like, why did McDaniels pass that ball? He had a wide open corner three. You've only hit six. You've already hit six threes. You have 24 points. Why not take that shot? You know? But, he didn't. They go in, Luka gets a steal, and then comes on the other end, hits a big mid-range shot, and that kind of sealed the game after Towns missed a three-pointer, and Dallas ends up getting the win. Well, very interesting execution by both teams. Both teams had a couple plays or turnovers. I was like, dang, what are you doing? But the Mavs ended up winning this game. Luka and Kyrie combined for 63 points, which was something that hasn't really happened in the first two rounds, which is what I was saying in my preview, and what a lot of people have been saying is like, Kyrie and Luka have been able to get to this. The Mavericks have been able to get to this point in the conference finals with Kyrie and Luka not really having like amazing games. Like they've had amazing games here and there. Like Kyrie had a big game or two in the first round. Luka had a big game in the first round. He had the big game five in this OKC series. But they both haven't had that game together where they combined for 60 points, combined for 65 points yet. Yet they still been able to win games. And they came out last night and set the tone in game one saying, okay, we're here. Combined for 63 points. It was Kyrie in the first half, Luka in the fourth quarter, and that was big. Daniel Gafford had a great game as well, 10 points, 9 rebounds, 5 for 9 from the field. PJ Washington had 13 and 7, hit that big three-pointer. Derek Lively. Derek Lively is amazing, man. As a rookie, Derek Lively is so good. 9 points, 11 rebounds, 4 for 4 from the field, plus 19. He was a plus 19 in a game where they won by 3 points. He was a plus 14 in the fourth quarter, where the Mavericks only won the fourth quarter by 4 points. Derek Lively just makes so many big plays, man. It's crazy. He's a rookie. Crazy. But the Mavericks come out, even though they have a bad shooting night, 6 for 25 from three, 24% from three, and you still find a way to win the game. They only missed one free throw, 16 for 17, even though they're a very bad free throw shooting team. Only missed one free throw in this game by Luka. That's it. Shot 49% from the field. Won the rebounding battle, 48 to 40, including 11 offensive rebounds. Yeah, Derek Lively had 11 rebounds. PJ Washington had 7 rebounds. Gafford had 9 rebounds. Luka had 6. Kyrie had 5. Derrick Jones Jr. had 4. So yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. had 4 rebounds. That's the only thing he really did in the 10 minutes he played was grab some rebounds. They won the rebounding battle. They won the shooting battle. They shot 49%. Minnesota only shot 42%. Won the free throw battle. So yeah, the Mavericks were able to kind of grind out a victory over a Minnesota Timberwolves team that is known for being tough and winning some of these games. So this just goes to show how great Dallas' team has become and stealing game one, where usually they're not a game one team. I think this is the first time they won a game one since 2021. I think. that they won a game one, which is that's crazy. But but the Mavericks coming out and winning game one, establishing early, like, hey, we're here. Like, let's do this. We're ready to go. And taking that first game in Minnesota to bring so much confidence to them. For the Timberwolves, they settled a lot in this game. They took 49 threes, which I would bet that Timberwolves have not taken that many threes in a game in this playoffs. Anthony Edwards took 12 threes, 12 of his 16 shots were threes. He was only 5 for 12, 6 for 16, 19 points. He did have 11 rebounds and 8 assists. He was doing a lot of the other things. I love the first half from him because he wasn't really forcing it. He hit some couple shots, but also made some good passes. But in the second half, he just was not aggressive enough. I think how many he scored in the second half? I think he scored like what? He scored 6 points in the second half. 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. That's it. In the second half, I just don't think that's enough. And maybe, he even said after the game he was a little fatigued coming off of game seven and then coming right into a game one is very tough to do, which is why I was very surprised that the Indiana Pacers did it in in Tuesday's game one in the conference finals, where the Pacers came out after game seven, after all that intensity, fighting with seeds on the line, and then coming into a new series. Usually that doesn't really translate, which is why usually in game ones it's kind of really tough for that. But Indiana did it, and Minnesota just looked a lot more tired. Minnesota came out. Anthony Edwards looked a lot more fatigued. He was kind of being passive, especially at the end of the game. Too, Anthony Towns, who didn't have a good shooting night either. He was only 6 for 20. He did hit a couple shots in the fourth quarter. He had that little run where he hit, a mid range on PJ Washington and hit a big 3-pointer to give the Minnesota Timberwolves the lead. But Anthony Towns, I just think he needs to be more aggressive and involved offensively. In the first half, he took a lot of shots, but I just didn't really feel like he was around, because he just was missing a lot of shots, wasn't really being super aggressive. And also a tough loss for Minnesota because you waste a great game from Jaden McDaniels. 24 points, 6 3-pointers. Like, how often are you going to get another performance like this from Jaden McDaniels? I don't know. So, wasting that performance and wasting 29 bench points, where Kai Anderson has 11 points, Naz Reid has 15 points. Nikhil didn't have a good game, only 1 for 6, 0 for 4 from 3. But wasting a game where you get 24 from McDaniels, 27, 29 off the bench, and the Mavericks have a 6 for 25 shooting night from three, and you lose that game. It's just that's a tough loss for Minnesota. That's a very tough loss. Some late game execution, some turnovers that didn't look good. A lot of settling. I felt like a lot of times they were settling for threes, which I don't feel like Minnesota's a team that does that a lot. They don't. They're not a team so far, at least in the playoffs, that has been a team that settles for three and settles for long 3-pointers and stuff like that, especially Anthony Edwards with the way he can get to the paint. But honestly, I believe I'm not really worried about Anthony Edwards with that. I think it was just, again, I really feel like it was fatigue and was just being tired, coming off an intense game seven, coming right into a game one against a new team. They have to feel out. I believe that we're not going to see this again from Anthony Edwards in game two. I think we're going to see a lot more attacking the paint and a lot more getting to the rim, taking more than 2 free throws. I believe we're going to see that a lot more. A big thing for Dallas as well in this game was the paint. Something I said in my preview was it's going to be really hard for Dallas to be able to dominate the paint like they have in the first two series, where a big X factor as to why the Mavericks are in this position is because against the Clippers and the Thunder, they were just able to out-size them, out-athlete them. The Clippers being an older team, the Thunder not having a lot of size, so Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively were eating. Like, I honestly think the Mavericks probably averaged like 5 or 6 lob attempts per game against the Thunder. To Derek Lively, to Derek Jones Jr. even got a couple of lob attempts. Daniel Gafford, like they're just throwing it all over the place. And I thought against Minnesota it was going to be really hard to be able to do that with Rudy Gobert and Anthony Towns down low, but they did it. Especially in that third quarter where Daniel Gafford was big in the third quarter. He was 4 for 4. He had a couple lob attempts. Derek Lively was in there, got a couple lob attempts. Also a lot of offensive rebound putbacks as well. And seeing that was just like wow, because they were kind of double teaming. Oh well, every time Luka was getting to the paint, obviously Rudy Gobert was focused on stopping Luka from scoring, and that was just leaving Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively wide open back there for an easy putback dunk, which they excel at. So yeah, I love seeing Luka Doncic get to the paint, and even though he did take 10 3-pointers in this game, because it's Luka Doncic, he's gonna take those shots, those step back threes. I love Luka Doncic offensively in this game, especially late in the second half, especially in the second half. Like the way he was navigating his screens in the paint with him and Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford, how they were kind of maneuvering around or Lively was kind of learning how to do that little Gortat screen or whatever, like hold him off until Luca can navigate into the paint and then get that layup. Because it was either he's gonna get the layup, he's gonna get fouled, or Derek Lively is gonna put it back in for a dunk. That's what's gonna happen. And just seeing Luca kind of dominating that as well, and seeing Luca maneuver with that is really nice. And also the mid range game. Who says the mid range is dead? Luca in that fourth quarter, he had 15 points in the fourth quarter. Of his 5 field goals made, 2 of them were threes. The other 3, I think, were mid range jumpers. And he was working Jaden McDaniels. Even though Jaden McDaniels is an elite defender, Luka Doncic was dominating that little mid range game. The step back mid ranges, that one to kind of seal the game with like a minute left, just beautiful, 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 beautiful. Love to see that. But yeah, I was saying it. I think this is going to be an amazing series. I'm very excited to see what Minnesota comes back with in game two. I'm expecting Minnesota to look a lot better in game two, look a lot more aggressive, especially getting to the paint. I don't expect them to take 49 threes again in game two. I expect them to get more into the paint, get more to the free throw line. Anthony Edwards to have a way better game. Coffee Towns potentially can have a better game as well. I'm expecting Minnesota to do that. I'm also expecting them maybe to find a way against, kind of that drive, that paint defense, because Dallas really was saying this game dominating the paint. I don't know what the paint points were exactly, but I'm pretty sure Dallas kind of, like dominated there. I would bet that Dallas dominated there. So I'm expecting Minnesota maybe to find a way to play better one-on-one defense. First of all, to not let Luka and Kyrie just walk to the paint, even though that's easier said than done. Those two are some of the greatest offensive players we have. And I'm expecting Minnesota to l- lock down on that. And I don't expect Dallas to have that similar paint presence that they did in this game. And I'm very excited to see how Minnesota kind of comes back for game two, because I think it's going to be a strategic chess match type of series, and I cannot wait for it. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.